Spoiled, entitled rich girl Anne escapes her life of ease to flee to New York's Bronx, which in the timeline of this particular movie takes place in 1990 in the no-go area of the Bronx, which is occupied by a bunch of paramilitary gangs who rule with an iron fist and protect their turf at all costs. So the Bronx in this movie is a no-go zone. Normal people don't go there. The only people that live there are these gangs and also the disadvantaged, poverty-stricken citizens of New York who have no other place to go. Sounds kind of like 2025, really. But 1990, The Bronx Warriors was made in 1981 by Italian director Enzo Castellari. Enzo Castellari is probably best remembered for films like Kioma and The New Barbarians, but this one was a bit of a sleeper hit in the early days of home video. So 1990, The Bronx Warriors, the basic premise is that this spoiled rich girl Anne does flee Manhattan from her father, who is the head of the either the GC Corporation or the Manhattan Corporation. I get confused between the two corporations. Between this and the follow-up sequel, Escape from the Bronx, aka Bronx Warriors 2. But nevertheless, this is a big evil private equity firm, and Anne doesn't believe in the ethics of this firm. The whole military-industrial complex stuff. They make weapons, they gentrify areas, they do all sorts of nefarious things, kind of like BlackRock or Vanguard these days. So it is that type of big, evil, nefarious multinational private equity firm that Anne's father is the head of. So Anne flees this life of privilege and runs away to try and start a new life in the no-go area of New York, which is, of course, the Bronx of the title. And the first part of this movie is Anne fleeing to the Bronx. It's quite like Anne's Anne's story arc, her character development arc is basically the old pulp song Common People, later covered by William Shatner. So she flees into the Bronx. She's attacked by a roller skating gang with hockey sticks and German helmets called the Zombies, and she's quickly rescued by a guy called Trash. Trash looks like Slash from Guns N' Roses, and he's the leader of the Riders group. So they're these badass motorcyclists, kind of these homoerotic motorcyclists. And Trash rescues Anne and rescues her from the zombies, who are led by the great George Eastman, aka Luigi Montefiore, who is the head of the Zombies gang, this bizarre neo-Nazi hockey / roller skating gang. And the only problem is, it seems like Anne's going to live happily ever after with Trash and company, but her father's not going to let her go quite that easily, because the main one of the main plot points is that as soon as Anne hits 21, she's going to inherit the GC Corporation or the Manhattan Corporation, and she'll be calling the shots. So all of these big evil private equity firms don't want that, because Anne might do something silly like go and feed the starving people of the world, or solve global poverty or something like that. One of those melon-headed dreams of all of these people with pesky values and morals. So the last thing they want is for Anne to start doing anything like that. So Anne's father does basically enlist the services of a mercenary called Hammer, played by the late, great VIC Morrow. This film was actually his last complete film that he shot. VIC Morrow, unfortunately, he was killed in a tragic accident in his next film, The Twilight Zone, directed by John Landis in that segment. So Enzo Castellari kept him safe, and John Landis kept him not so safe, unfortunately. And so VIC Morrow plays Hammer, the mercenary for hire, and he's working in conjunction with a guy called Hot Dog, who's a truck driver, played by Christopher Connolly, I believe. And there's also a mole in Trash's Riders gang. So he's working with them as well, and everything, of course, comes to a head about 85 minutes into the movie, as you'd expect. Another star of this one is Fred Williamson, who plays the Great Ogre, and he's chewing up the scenery as always. Fred Williamson always gets the girl and always chews up the scenery, and he only dies in the movie if he allows it, and that's the way that all great Hollywood prima donnas should be, and Fred Williamson's no different, and props to the guy. So this is a very cool movie. I first experienced it as a $1 Black Dot weekly special at our local video store, Star Channel. The cover captivated me as a small child. It was that awesome Italian painted art, that wonderful poster art that they're so renowned for. You'll see other examples in films like The New Barbarians and a lot of these Italian movies, a lot of the Fulci movies. So that grabbed me and I rented it, and it was, frankly, it was one of the best $1 coins that I ever spent, and I've watched it many times over and over ever since. So the other cool thing about 1990, the Bronx Warriors, well, there's where do I start and stop with cool things, but I'll endeavour to do so. So the other cool thing is the location itself. You wouldn't be able to build a set like that these days for probably less than $500 million. Basically what Enzo Castellari did was use the location that he had, which was the Bronx, which was a bunch of blocks and blocks and blocks of dilapidated, crumbling buildings and rubble, and it really does add to the atmosphere of this movie, gives it a kind of otherworldliness, kind of an alternate timeline feel. The movie feels like a bit of a comic book. It is obviously heavily influenced, so I won't say rips off. That's a little bit mean. Okay, so it rips off a couple of movies, especially The Warriors and also Escape from New York, so you'll see those heavy influences there. And the whole movie has a very cool vibe. It feels like a comic book. Friends and I have often mused that this would make an outstanding comic book series. You could have 1990 The Bronx Warriors and the sequel, Bronx Warriors 2, Escape from the Bronx. And you could have Warriors of the Wasteland as the follow-up. They almost do feel like a bit of a trilogy, the Castellari dystopian / post-apocalyptic trilogy. And all three movies are well worth seeking out. But yeah, Bronx Warriors has an amazing synthesizer soundtrack. The script is serviceable, but the Enzo Castellari really overcomes any shortcomings with the script. Enzo Castellari is the king of the slow-mo, so a lot of great slow-mo action sequences, a lot of fast motion action sequences, and a lot of regular motion action sequences. Enzo Castellari cameos in this one as well, in a bit of a blink or you'll miss it moment. And yeah, really cool little cast. I mean, you've got Mark Gregory, you've got Fred Williamson, you've got Luigi Montefiore, aka George Eastman, and you've got Joshua Sinclair, and yeah, a cast of cool regular character actors. This movie also cast real Hell's Angels, just for a bit of trivia, and apparently they provided some much needed security on the set for Enzo and crew, because the Bronx was a pretty rough area, as you can imagine. And in terms of social commentary, this one's chock full of it. A lot of themes about the haves and the have-nots. The second movie goes a lot more into the themes of gentrification, quite heavily so, but this one does touch upon those sort of themes in a bit of an early taste of what's to come. And yeah, really, it has all the social commentary in the world if you care to look for it, depending on your outlook on life and your values and your morals. So, and of course can be, I was being a little bit facetious about the spoilt little rich girl description at the start of the video. It probably is pretty admirable that someone like Anne, as a character at least, could see through the nefariousness and the immorality of being an heir to one of these private equity firms. And it would be nice if some of these heirs do take a different tact when they finally inherit these companies that seem to own everything these days. So Anne is a very shining example. She's not the sort of example you're going to see in a contemporary Hollywood movie. They're more likely to justify the means and methods of these private equity firms and the military-industrial complex and all of that sort of stuff. But Bronx Warriors does wear its heart firmly on its sleeve, so you can take it the way you want to take it. You can take it for social commentary. You can take it as a fun comic book style movie. I mean, certainly it's more fun and more genuine than any of the contemporary Marvel or DC comic book movies. That's a fact. I'll say that categorically with no caveats. Bronx Warriors, 1990, The Bronx Warriors is a much better comic book movie than the new Superman movie or the new Fantastic Four movie or any of those. I'll take the Pepsi Challenge any day over those. And yeah, there's plenty to love here, plenty to revisit. It's very easy to see this movie these days. It's on various streaming services. It comes in and out of physical media, but if you keep an eye out, you can pick up a copy. It's definitely worth picking up a copy. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about this one. I could really talk about it all day. As always, I'll leave a trailer link in the comments, and if I can find a link to where you can see it, I'll leave that in the comments. I don't make any money out of those. I just think it's easy for you to go, know where to go straight away and find out a bit more, and hopefully check it out if you haven't already. So I hope you've enjoyed this content, and I'm off to enjoy the rest of my day, and I hope you do too.